Oh, come on. Hey everybody, welcome back to my Chevelle project. If you saw my last video, you saw I got all the body panels aligned, I got the whole car sanded, and I found two new problems. One being right here. I think I found some old filler. It looks like there's some rust under it, so I'm gonna have to tear that out, find out what I gotta do to fix it. And then on the other quarter panel, I found a little bit of rust, and I'm probably have to do some welding up to really fix it right on the other side. So here is the source of my latest joy. As I was sanding this down, you can see that there's some cracking going on, and that was coming all the way out to the paint. So I knew something was up. Then as I was getting down into it, you can see there's some really nasty looking stuff, and I can chip that away and expose some rust. So I'm going to go ahead and get out the grinder and try to knock all this filler out and see what I got. All right, I took the old chisel and started beating away the Bondo, and it looks like there's a light skimming, which is fine to do. It's how you get rid of slight ripples and stuff, and I'm not going to get any deeper into that because there's just not much there. I'm just going to have to smooth and kind of redo that here. Here though, you can see that looks like it got maybe dinged from the inside, so I got a little bit of surface rust there, but it's not, it's just barely there. So I think I can just clean it up and put in some fresh filler. And then here on the inside, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a couple of high spots, or spots where they got dented in. I can feel it with my finger. I might tap on that a little bit because that corresponds to this area in here, and maybe I can get away with a little bit less filler, but I'm going to finish cleaning this up, tap that out, get it ready to go, and move to the other side. All right, I got the car flipped around and shipped back in the garage, and this is one of the drawbacks of a 4-post lift, is you have to work around it, but I'm still sticking with that it was worth it. And you can kind of see what I got going on here. I've got a, not as bad as the other side, that huge patch panel I had to get, but I'm going to grab the grinder and start cutting into it and see what I got to do. Well, I ended up just cutting all this out. I found a whole bunch of petrified sand and dirt in there, and it just filled in, retained moisture, and just was rusting out from the inside. So I just cut all. This second layer of metal seems fine. I think I'm just going to put some rust neutralizer on it, build me a patch panel, weld it all back together, smooth it down just like the other side, and move on. But that will take me a chunk of my day, so I'm going to get busy. All right, I got the beginnings of a patch panel made here. I originally had it in one piece, but there's a bend. There's a bend right here that you can't work with, so I ended up cutting that off, and I think that's going to work pretty good. I'm going to tack it up on the top and tweak and bend it all the way to the bottom, weld it in, then come in and work on that piece. So I just spent a whole bunch of time screwing this up pretty bad. I couldn't get my welder set right. I kept having a blowback on it, which I couldn't figure out why I was getting that. And so I was trying to patch things up and work on it. And ultimately I figured out what I did. I actually was using way too thin of a gauge, and I just ended up cutting it all out. So let me show you what happened. All right, I just cut the metal back out. This is the patch panel I was making, and I was having a heck of a time. I was blowing through really bad, and I tried to patch it up, and you could see what a freaking nightmare that was. And that's just not doing it right. And so I just ended up cutting the whole section and a little bit more back out, and a nice even cut. And looking at it, I mean, you want to use like 20 gauge metal for this, and I was using 24. And that's why my welder couldn't set up right. It's just too thin for a big welder. I was just having a heck of a time. So, well, it's 3 weeks later, and I got this patch panel in, and I ended up using 3/16, and I'm glad I did because I was able to really grind in and do some shaping. I'll give you a closer look. So using a thicker metal really was the way to go. I was able, this is two pieces, this piece here and then this piece here. And I was able to weld it together and grind down this edge and hit it with the flat disc. And it really came out nice. And with the 3/16, I wasn't worried about it blowing through. And I was able to, I spent some time getting the radius of the quarter panel and getting it all to match up. I still got to fill this in and do a little more grinding to really make it look nice. But the majority is done, and I'm thinking filler now. All right, with that last bit welded in there and smoothed out, I'm going to give this Bondo a shot, and I found 6 spots that I need to put it on, so I'll show it to you. This front area here, I actually welded in a couple of patch panels here. I just need to skim and coat that. This is pretty bad. It's really wavy down here. This is all cleaned up, so I'm just going to skim this, and then this is a little bit pitted, and I'm just going to do a light skim there. Hope I can sand that out easy. And then, of course, this patch I just put in there. I've got this dent here. It's not bad. I've pulled most of that out. Area here on the quarter panel it's actually pretty smooth, so just a couple minor ripples, and then the spot up here on the door. So I'm gonna go ahead and read the directions on that can of Bondo and see what I can mix up. This is literally the first rodeo for me, so I'm hoping I don't mess it up too bad. That stuff set up fast. I thought I was moving quick enough to get it on, but I got a little bit on there. I thought I did pretty good on what I wanted to get done there. I know I was just doing a little bit of a skim back here, and it started getting ugly, and I tried to put a little bit up here, and I'm done. So I'll wait for that to dry off so I can reuse the applicator, and I think I'm not going to put so much of that tube stuff in there, and give me a little bit more time, because I still got the door, finished that, a little bit more work there, and that quarter panel, so not even really halfway. All right, that is the leftover, the second round. I didn't put as much hardener in it, and it almost went as fast, but it wasn't too bad. So I put that on, and then I hit a bunch of it with 80 grit in the sanding block, and it came out a lot better than I thought. This came in really good. This is going to need another little bit of a skim coat. I got some low areas I got to get into. This needs a lot more work, but it's coming along. I've got to get down in here, clean this up before I put another second coat on it, and I think I'm going to switch over to that bad boy and save me some time. This quarter panel I just welded in earlier is not looking too shabby. You really can't see in the light, but this turned out pretty crappy. Actually, this is when the stuff was setting up. You can't see it in the light, but I got little divots in there, and I'm going to have to sand those and get them out. And this door came a long ways. I've still got a couple low areas from me not knowing what I'm doing, but I'm going to sand into those, and then another light coat there. And then this back quarter panel came in pretty good. It actually feels pretty reasonable. There might be a little bit down here, but I think I'm done with the 80 grit on this one. So I'm going to do some more block sanding and try to get those low areas out, and then work some more on this fender with that thing. And then I'll do another light skim and dial it in, although it's getting late in the day, so I might have to pick it up tomorrow. All right, I made some headway. I've been mixing this up a few times. I spent some time with this pneumatic block sander that make things a little easier, and I think I'm going to call this good. This section up here, I had to put a Bondo on there a couple of times. And this section I need to redo. I've got these little divots in here that I'm going to have to cut out and put a fresh layer on, sand back down, and that is purely due to my inexperience. I was putting way too much activator in it, and it was setting up too fast. And this back here is turning out pretty good. I've got a little bit I've got to put up in that area and sand back down. Other than that, putting a straight edge on it, it's all in pretty good shape. That part looks good. And this quarter panel looks pretty good. It's not perfect by any means, but I'm thinking a high build primer could handle it, because I'm going to get some slight gaps when I put the straight edge on it. And then this door came in pretty good. I've got, I don't know if you can see that with the light, but see how you got a little divot on the high and the low spot? I'm going to fill those in with just a little bit and sand that back down. But besides that, it's looking really smooth and good. So I'm going to mix up just a little bit more, slap that stuff on, go eat a sandwich, and come back and do some sanding. Maybe I can get the rough stuff all done today, and then I'm going to start looking at some high build primer. All right, I think I got it. I end up putting on a little bit more filler here, over there on that door, over there on the trunk, and then crisscross sand it back down to where I think it looks pretty good as far as I can eyeball it. And then I chased it back up with another crisscross pattern with 180 grit to try to get rid of the 80. And not too bad. I use kind of like a flat edge to check it out. And I think it came in pretty good. So what I want to do now is I want to spray the entire car with some high build 2K urethane primer. What that does is I'll seal it all up and it'll give me something, I can put a guide coat on top of that, and then I can start block sanding the entire car. And hopefully what the filler couldn't do and any other waves, hopefully that high build primer will handle. The problem is I'm in this garage with the lift, and so I'm going to figure out how the heck am I going to do that. I think I'm going to do that on another video, but I'm probably going to end up taking that car, putting it somewhere else, maybe raising that up, see if I could get this car maybe catty corner in here. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out, but I don't have any of those materials. I'm going to have to chase them all down, put them together. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I am done, hopefully, with the metal work and all the Bondo work, and I'm actually might spray something on the next video. I sure hope so, because it's still just pouring rain outside, and I cannot wait till spring. Thanks.